5 seconds to go. Start. Some honorable members are perhaps not well acquainted with the development of the Congress outlook on the subject of linguistic provinces. Undoubtedly, in the 20s, we were strongly in favor of all work being done in the language of the area in order to enable the local people to play their part. In so far as the importance of the language in doing work is concerned, we hold to the same principle. But let us not mix up two things, namely the importance of the development of a language and linguistic boundaries. The two are not the same thing. If you see the Congress resolutions of the last 3 or 4 years, you will find that all of them have stated quite clearly that language is an important factor, but that there are other economic, geographical, and developmental factors which are equally important. Finally, the most important factor, the overriding factor, is the unity of India. That is what the Congress has been saying all along. Now, seeing all that has happened since the publication of the SRC report, naturally, and even more than previously, our thoughts have gone towards laying a greater stress on the unifying factors. We have been discussing the 5-year plan and thinking more and more in economic and developmental terms. Take Bengal and Bihar. The area between Bengal and Bihar is the richest industrial area of India, and no doubt in a few years' time it will grow into the most heavily industrialized area. For developmental reasons, it was of very great advantage to Bihar and Bengal to work that area jointly. We have had enough experience in the last 5 years of small matters being delayed because two governments had to deal with them and pulled in two different directions. I am merely pointing out that in this case there were valid reasons. Everywhere you will find that the economic approach has now to be considered much more than previously, always making sure that the language approach is also there, not as a boundary but for the purpose of doing work in that language and seeing that the cultural aspect of language is always encouraged. Occasionally, it may be that two languages overlap. Suppose Bengal and Bihar form a union. Nothing will happen to the Bengali language or to the work done in Bengali. nothing will happen to the Hindi there. I wish to say something about Bombay. It is quite wrong for us to go about censoring any community or group for what has happened. That is a wrong approach. There is no doubt what has happened in Bombay is disgraceful. In a similar situation in any other country, the army and tanks would have come in, but in Bombay only police force was used. Bombay has been a tragedy for all of us, but recrimination does not help. I think I should mention just one thing which should be borne in mind by all of us, namely the trend towards violence. The most important thing now is to calm and soothe the people to get rid of this bitterness as much as possible. I do not know how some people have been saying that in my broadcast about states reorganization I had used the words irrevocable decisions. I have looked through my broadcast and it is not there. In a democratic structure of government, there is nothing irrevocable. We can sit down and consider any matter at any time. The point is that we must have the atmosphere to do it. We cannot do it if people beat one another and quarrel. We must calm down. It is obvious that no decision about Bombay is a happy decision which is looked upon by a large section of the people as an imposition on them. If the Gujaratis or the Maharashtrians feel imposed upon, it is not a happy decision. They, as well as others, have to live together in Bombay. Unfortunately, a situation has been created which makes a cool approach to the problem difficult. Let us cool down and become normal and then realize the fact that there is no question of one group dominating over another. Some people say that a few capitalists in Bombay wanted this to be done and that not to be done. I really do not understand this. For my part, I can say that in the whole course of my conversations, I did not meet a single capitalist from Bombay, though they presented a memorandum which I saw. You can take it from me, you know it well enough that the capitalists in Bombay or elsewhere will probably be able to function under any conditions. There has been another proposal for judicial inquiry in regard to Bombay. My reaction is that whenever there is trouble, generally there should be an inquiry. But I must say that my mind is rather confused when I think of an inquiry into the Bombay occurrences. It will be a tremendous inquiry which will last for ages all along. Stop.